Welcome back to my channel. I've given my channel a name now, it's called Island Works, because I live on an island and I work with my cars. Today is not part of the 200 challenge. I'm going to do something else. I need to get a little bit more space in my garage, so I need to get this car out here. This is a 1976 Targa signature edition that I bought to renovate. I did some of it, then installed because I got focused on 964. I'm going to send this one off now to a friend in Estonia called Urban's Garage, which he does some really cool work, and he's going to fix this one so it looks like new. Before I do that, I'm going to take the engine and the tranny out of the car, because this is things that I'm going to take care of myself, and it's actually already newly renovated, something I did last year. And one question I've gotten from some of the people on the channel here is about my lift setup. So I'm going to show you a little bit how I do when I take an engine and transmission out of the car. Everyone does this in their own way. This is how I do it. What I have in my garage here is two hydraulic double scissor lifts, and this is what I use to lift and maintain on my car. Come over here, I'm going to show you a little bit more. This is how it looks up close. I got very inspired when I saw this Jack Olson from California, his video where he had integrated a single scissor lift into his garage. So I wanted to do something similar. When I cast the slab for this garage, I made these two pits here, and these are two independent double scissor lifts, and I integrated the hydraulic hoses down into the slab here. So these are connected here, and then it goes over to the HPU over there. And what I also did was I integrated a stainless steel frame here, so when you roll over it with your car, there's no risk of damaging the tiles. Wanted to really get it very flush, so that when I don't use it, it's not in the way. Sometimes when I don't have the car up here, I'll just use them as workbenches. It's pretty convenient if you need to cut a board or you need a workbench in the middle of a garage, so quite convenient for that. I built this so that I would be able to stand tall under a 911 in here. It helps with the car not being overly big. I got 3.2 meters in here, so this is just enough. Of course, it helps that I'm not overly tall. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try to turn this car around inside of the garage, because I got full of stuff outside of the garage. Of course, I'm alone while doing this, so let's see how much horsepower I got. There we go, car on lift. Here's something I don't appreciate with the old 911s. I think this went on until 77 or 78. They don't really have any jack stands. So you have to like wiggle this piece in there to some place where you think it's good enough. And yeah, hope for the best. Something that, yeah, they could have done a better job with that. Time to get busy. First step, oil out. As you notice, I took the rear bumper off only because it was not bolted fast on this car. Otherwise, you don't need to do that. Oh, it looks really good. I just renovated this engine. It's only ran 2 hours because I didn't finish the rest of the car. You can either choose to take the exhaust off or just leave the exhaust intact. I'm gonna start with trying to leave the exhaust intact, because that's the easiest way to just keep the engine together. If you don't have this, you have to buy it. Battery driven impact wrench, really good. got the wheels off to take the bolts that hold the drive shafts off. They're Allen bolts, Allen key bolts. There's many different ways of doing this. I'm doing it like this with a really long extender. I put a little bit of VD40 on the joints. This has not been out on this car for a long time because when I took the engine out, actually I bought the car with the engine in pieces and the gearbox was still in the car. So when I put the engine back into the car, the gearbox was already there. So I've never taken this out and it's probably been here for some time. This is, it's quite scary when you do this because you're either lucky or sorry. They're a little bit rusted, these bolts, so you're not sure if they're going to grip or if they're going to snap. I did it on the other side already. I got 5 out of 6 out, so one I'm going to have to cut. So here goes. Yes. It's really hit or miss. I'm gonna try another one. Trying to feel that I got really, that it bottomed out properly. I think I got it there. That fell into. To do this, I usually put the transmission in gear and then just pull the handbrake. This is how it looks up close. So it's not very easy to reach. You could do it with the smaller Allen key, the L type here as well. If you do like this, you get 3 bolts at a time and then you have to release the handbrake, turn the wheel and get the rest. With the drive shafts off, next step is just taking off the connectors to the old cooler. Old cooler sits here on the old ones. So we'll see how much stuff get out here. This never stops pouring, so you need to keep this running for quite some time. I'm going to leave this one here and I'm going to see if I can squeeze this one into the same tap here. This is for the oil pump, so this is a very important feed, of course. Sorry, this is the return, this is scavenge pump. That goes into the oil pump. There we go. And that's going to be running there for quite some time. With this out, I have the 2 forward mounts in front of the gearbox left. I got the 2 rear mounts here left, and gas wire, got clutch wire, don't have that much left. This guy here, the famous wasp, see if I can cut this out. You see it sits there, it's really gnarly. Take out the anti-roll bar, next step. Loosen up nicely. Get these clips off here. Best friend for these situations. Apparently I'm doing this the wrong way. It's easier to just get them off the bushings here, so I'm going to try that instead.
Got most of the stuff out now. Loosen the gas wire, loosen the clutch wire. Got the anti-roll bar out. It'll loosen the tranny mount just a little bit. Okay, check this one as well. Just a bit. Got it.
Almost forgot the ventilation hoses. This one here. Just take it out. I think I got it now. Took out the ventilation hoses, took out the plus pole for the battery. You always forget something when you do this. This is the first time I do it on a 911S. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna forget something here, but I'll see that if I'm careful as I lower the engine down. So that's what I'm gonna do now. The way I do this, or the way I've learned how to do it with the 964, is to use this little hydraulic table. So you have two things that can move against each other. This one comes from underneath, and then you can change the height of the lift, of course. So you have to time these two together. This one here is in the way, so you always have to take this one out. So otherwise it's going to be in the way when you try to get this one far enough underneath. The thing with getting it far enough underneath is that you have to support the engine as well as the tranny. If you don't, it's going to tip over when it comes loose, and that's not very cool. It sits in the back here with two bolts. That's the aftwards and rearward engine mounting point. It's really obvious where they are if you go in here. I've loosened it up right now, so I've seated the engine on the hydraulic table. The only thing left now before I can lower it down is to take the bolts off completely and unhook the cables I have up here, fuel line, as well as the gearbox mount. Sorry, the gear shifter assembly. Simple. The gear shifter rod assembly. The trick here is to make sure you push the gear lever forward, or the shifter forward, so you get the rod into the gearbox. If you have that, you can just unbolt here, just like that, and then use the gear shifter to take it off. Simple as that. Everything loose? Here goes nothing. Had a little trouble there, the gear shifter got a little bit stuck. I don't think it was very serious, I don't think I damaged anything, but I had to wiggle it a little bit back and forth to get it out of there. The last thing left, attaching it to the chassis, seems to be the speedometer that goes on a separate harness, just completely by itself. Not like the 964 where it comes together with the harness nicely. I don't know if that's something unique for this car, and maybe a DIY from some previous owner. That looks really weird. Engine on the floor, mission accomplished. So why did I take this one out? As I mentioned at the beginning, this car here is going to go over to Urbas Garage in Estonia and become brand new, just beautiful. And this one here, I'm going to keep this one here with me close at heart. I've already done the engine on this one, so this one is good. I need to run over the carburetors a little bit more because it wasn't running very clean when I had it running. I'm going to have a look at the transmission as well, finish up the mounts and so on, drive shafts. Maybe I should actually take those out. With the car down on the ground and the engine and tranny out, it's now heading off to Urban's garage. So this is Seam here. He's helping me with taking it. Seam, say hi.
Hi.
When the car comes back, it's going to be like new. With the Targa out of the garage, I moved the red one in so I can continue the 200 challenge. Now with a little bit more space in the garage, which I'm definitely going to need. The Targa is going off to Urban's garage. It's going to come back spanking new, really fantastic. Sim, before he left, he gave me a little bit of a Christmas gift. Snowman beer, not bad. As you can see, taking the engine and the transmission out of a car is not very difficult. Anyone can do it. It's a little bit more difficult if you do it on the ground without a lift like I have, but really it's not a big issue. It took me about 3 hours to do it. It takes a little bit longer time for one of these, which is a C4. Maybe 5 hours on that one, but not more than that. Really anyone can do it. It looks scary at first, but if you want to do some work with your car, get at it. That's it for today. Thank you very much.